beef industry has long used scientific principles as the foundation for everything that we do.
Because I want to make sure that we can raise cattle next year better than we did last year.
Beef. It's what's for dinner.
My name is Anne-Marie Bonneau. I write the blog Zero Waste Chef, and I've written a cookbook of the same name. I'm going to cook a really simple dish and show you what I do with food scraps and try to create as little waste as possible. Vegetable soup is a great way to use those random vegetables that you might have in the refrigerator. Every pot is different. You can throw in, that random potato you have in the cupboard. So it doesn't look like much, but I found some things in the fridge. So I have these, I think these are Romano beans. I found this random small butternut squash, and I have an onion, and I have some garlic and some zucchini because it's that time of year. A little bit of my homemade wine vinegar. One more thing. I'm going to put in wheat berries. I love wheat berries. It's just another whole grain. They're really delicious, kind of chewy, have a little bit more protein in them. I'm gonna save the little scraps and bits of my vegetables as I chop, and I freeze those, and when I have enough little bits and I need vegetable broth, I use them to make free vegetable broth. I'm gonna cook the soup on my induction cooker. I'll put a couple of tablespoons olive oil I got from the bulk store. I'm going to saute the onions. Heats up so fast. Add my garlic. If you have really hard vegetables, you'd put those in first and give them a bit of a head start. I'll add water and then let this simmer for about 15 minutes. I'm gonna add maybe 3 of these Parmesan rinds. They add a ton of flavor. Put the lid on, bring this to a boil, and then turn it down to a simmer for about 15 minutes. Okay, the soup is done. I'm going to add some grains. These are so tasty. They add nice texture to the soup. I'm gonna add a little bit of my homemade wine vinegar and salt and pepper to taste, and that's it. There we go. Super healthy. It's so healthy. There we go. There's the soup. These are just some of my jars. This is a sliver of my jars. I started all of this because I wanted to cut plastic waste, and jars are great. They cut a lot of plastic waste. They also help reduce wasted food. I use them for storing food, for freezing food, for buying food in bulk. Worldwide, 1/3 of the food we produce goes uneaten. So this is great for reducing food waste. When you can see the food, you're more likely to eat it, and you're less likely to buy more of it. These are fermented hot peppers that I made last year. Absolutely delicious. They would be long gone if I hadn't preserved them, but ferment them and they last over a year. When I ferment stuff, I usually use these type of jars that have the bale top. This is my fanciest fermentation tool, is a flip top bale top jar. This is my kombucha with this little hat on it. And this is my kimchi, also in a jar. This one has lemon zest in it. So lemon zest is delicious. It adds a lot of flavor to baking, and I zest a lot of lemons. This is leftover whey from making ricotta. This is great for baking bread or pizza. You can see almost all of these jars are wide neck. These ones don't go in the freezer, the fermentation jars, but for freezing, wide neck jars. This is an egg. It might be more than one egg, I'm not sure. Whisk them up and freeze them. They freeze really well. There's no downside to reducing food waste. The average family of 4 in the US throws out around $1,600 worth of food every year. These are some of the things I take with me when I go out, and they help avoid all kinds of plastic. A thermos, coffee cups, paper coffee cups are lined with plastic. You don't want to ingest microplastics, which is what you do when you drink out of plastic. Some utensils. You can put them in a little bag. This is just a small little cloth produce bag I take with me to the farmer's market sometimes. Cloth produce bags are always good to have. This one used to be my favorite pair of pants. This was the bottom. They had a little drawstring. And so I cut them and I sewed the bottom, and I have this cloth bag. So if I come across a bakery and I want to bring home croissants, I can just say, can you please put them in here in my clean bag? So I store these in a glass jar, and at first my family was disgusted, but they love them. They use them all the time. Jars for bringing home leftovers, or a container. Whenever we go out to dinner, I always bring some containers with me for the leftovers. Unpaper towels. I made mine just because I like to make things. This was a sheet that I bought at the thrift shop, nice flannel sheet. You can use this to clean up messes or dry your hands. I like to have a clean one in my bag. They really come in handy. So I store all of this stuff in a cloth shopping bag, reusable shopping bag. So I've got my unpaper towel in there, a clean one. And when I get home, if it's dirty, I'll switch it. I can put my thermos in the pocket, and my produce bags and my utensils. And there we go. There is my to-go bag. I clean with pretty natural stuff also. Clean my home. Baking soda is great. I cleaned the sink today with it. You just sprinkle it on the sink and you scrub it, and it cleans off all kinds of grime. You could also put an acid on that, on the baking soda, to make it foam up. So lemon juice you can mix with baking soda, or vinegar. Now this is kombucha, but I let it sit until it's really, really strong vinegar, and it makes great vinegar. This is my homemade washing soda, which you can add to the washing machine and kind of brightens your laundry. And I made this out of baking soda. And okay, this may sound gross. You don't have to wash your clothes after you've worn them once, unless you've spilled stuff all over them, or you went to the gym and worked out and your clothes smell really bad. But for the most part, you can wear your clothes quite a few times before you have to actually wash them. And then when I dry them, I put them on the line. We're in California. The weather here is perfect for drying your clothes on the line. They last longer because the dryer is actually really harsh on your clothes, and they wear out a lot faster. But I love my clothesline. The 0 in 0 waste is just a goal. You actually never get there. Don't stress out about that 0. Just try and do what you can and have fun. It should be fun. I find all of this fun. It shouldn't feel like torture.